Okay, when you picture Nepal, what's the first thing that pops into your head? For most of us, I'm guessing it's this, the colossal, snow-capped peaks of the Himalayas, basically the roof of the world. But what if I told you that incredible image is just the beginning, that the real soul of this nation isn't found at the summit, but way down in the valleys below?
That's what we're here to find out. We're going to explore a country that's defined by so much more than just its altitude, a place of ancient gods, legendary warriors, and a really vibrant future that's being forged right now in the shadow of giants. To really get your head around Nepal, you have to start with the sheer scale of it all. Get this one single landlocked nation is home to 8 of the world's 10 highest mountains. That, of course, includes Sagarmatha, the peak we all know as Everest. You see, this isn't just a country with mountains. In a lot of ways, it is the mountains. So how on earth did they get here?
Well, the story starts not with ice, but with fire, and an incredible amount of force deep within the Earth's crust.
For 75 million years, the landmass that is now India has been on a collision course with the Eurasian plate. It's the slowest, but maybe the most powerful collision imaginable. And that incredible impact is what literally buckled the surface of the Earth and thrust these massive peaks into the sky. It's a process of just unimaginable violence that created a landscape of serene, breathtaking beauty. But as spectacular as those peaks are, they're really just the setting for the stage. The true story of Nepal, the human story, unfolds in the fertile valleys that were carved out and protected by all that geological drama. This is where civilization really took root. So let's come down from the mountains and descend into the cultural and spiritual heart of the nation, the Kathmandu Valley. For centuries, this valley wasn't just a place, it was an idea. It was known as the Nepal Mandala. Because it was located right on a branch of the ancient Silk Road, it became this vibrant melting pot. You had traders, pilgrims, and ideas pouring in from both Tibet and India. And this unique fusion, it gave birth to a style of art and architecture you just can't find anywhere else on Earth. Now, what's really interesting here is the spiritual landscape this shows us. Yeah, it's overwhelmingly Hindu on paper, but Nepal is a place where faiths have blended together for centuries. Here, the lines between beliefs just kind of dissolve. It's a harmony so deep that you'll find Hindu deities being worshipped in Buddhist temples and vice versa. It creates this spiritual fabric that is just uniquely Nepali. And this right here perfectly illustrates that spiritual duality. I mean, think about it. This is the sacred ground where Siddhartha Gautama, the Buddha, was born. And yet, for most of its modern history, right up until 2008, it stood alone as the world's very last Hindu kingdom. Two absolutely monumental spiritual legacies coexisting in one nation. It's incredible. This spiritual identity was, of course, forged alongside a pretty dramatic history, one of conflict, unification, and the creation of a legendary martial tradition. If you look at this timeline, you can really see the key moments. Back in the 18th century, it was just a bunch of small principalities. Then, they were all unified by force under the Gorkha kingdom. This new, powerful kingdom then tested its strength against the British Empire, and that conflict is what ultimately defined Nepal's borders. The 20th century was a real roller coaster of democracy and monarchy, which led to a civil war, and finally, the country became a federal republic in 2008. And it was out of this crucible of unification and war that a legendary type of warrior emerged, the Gurkhas. Their reputation for just unmatched bravery was forged in that Anglo-Nepali War, and it led to over 200 years of service in British and Indian armies, making their name a global symbol of courage. So, what's emerged from this really complex past? What does the new Republic of Nepal look like today? Well, modern Nepal is this incredible human mosaic, and its diversity is a direct legacy of its geography. Just look at these numbers: 125 distinct ethnic groups, speaking 123 different languages, all in a country about the size of the state of Florida. The very mountains that define the nation also isolated communities for centuries, which allowed all these unique cultures to flourish. So today, managing this diversity is both Nepal's greatest strength and, maybe, its most complex challenge. Economically, the nation really stands on two very different pillars. On one hand, you have the one we all see, the engine of tourism, trekkers and mountaineers drawn by all that natural wonder. But on the other hand, there's a much less visible but arguably more critical economic force at play. And that force is represented by this number: 28%. Nearly a third of Nepal's entire GDP comes from remittances. That's money sent home by millions of Nepalese working abroad.
It's a staggering figure, and it highlights a quiet truth. For many, the nation's most vital resource isn't on a mountain, but is a loved one working thousands of miles away. It's a lifeline that supports families all across the country. So what holds this diverse, economically tested nation together? Well, maybe the answer is found in its national motto. This ancient Sanskrit phrase basically says that your mother and your motherland are greater than heaven itself. It really speaks to a deep, binding patriotism, a cultural value that ties Nepalis to their homeland, no matter where they are in the world. And this deep-seated patriotism is really the anchor for a nation that's navigating a pretty precarious present and trying to forge a path forward on the world stage. Just take a look at the map, and Nepal's geopolitical challenge becomes crystal clear. It is a landlocked nation, literally wedged between two superpowers, India and China. So for its entire existence, it has had to perform this delicate balancing act, serving as a buffer and maintaining a fierce neutrality just to protect its own sovereignty. And so we're left with this question. For a country of such immense natural beauty, profound spirituality, and incredible human diversity, the future is going to be defined by its ability to navigate the pressures from its giant neighbors. How it carves its own path, on its own terms? Well, that's going to be the next chapter in Nepal's incredible story.